let's talk about the most talked about issue right now on social media, on traditional media, and that is the issue of the 774,000 jobs saga, which happened, a couple of days ago. You had the Minister of State for Labor, that's Mr. Festus Keyamo. He came before the joint, house, and at the end of the day, there was shouting here and there, and then he was asked to leave. Can you explain to me why that had to happen? Because this is something that is supposed to affect Nigerians, basically, but it degenerated into something else.
From what I heard, because as a lawyer, I have to be careful as to what I say, because I was not there. It was not even the issue.
Did you see the video?
I didn't watch the video.
You probably should, because the video is everywhere.
No, I have some other things I'm doing.
Okay.
I don't have to go that way. Then what I heard, I may be wrong, was that it's not even the issue of the 774,000 was not even on the table. The issue that led to the opera was the issue about procedure. The sitting of the two committees, Committee on Labour and Productivity, started. There was an open session. I learned that they now said they should go to the closed session, but he refused, that he cannot go to closed session. For me, it's a matter of procedure. The Senate and the Rep, they have the power to regulate their procedure. So we should be able to really look at what is the cause of the opera. Have they gone to even issue of discussing the
I would say this because I did watch the video, and of course listened to his press conference afterwards, and I've also read I've also read the response of members of the Senate, and their reaction to what happened. From the video, he said that he was being accused of something, because we're talking about what he said. I'm telling you what is in the video. I'm telling you what is in the video. Hold on, sir. Let me finish it, then you can respond. And they said, let's go to a closed door session, and he said the cameras should be here. We're talking about this. The Nigerian people should know what we are talking about. You have talked about exposing corruption. You have talked about procedure, and you want me to respond. You should let me respond in the presence of the Nigerian people, because you made this accusation. You talked about it in front of the cameras. So I also want to respond in front of the cameras, but you can't say, let's now go to a closed door session after saying that, and I didn't respond to it. That was his argument, and then it degenerated into...
What I've said, even though I've not watched the video,
yes,
is not substantially different from what
exactly.
you said.
Well, what I'm saying
is that as at that point,
yes,
the issue of 774,000 was not being discussed. But there was get a clear perspective. What is the bone of contention that led to the opera? The bone of contention for me is procedural. Do we hold the meeting in public, or do we have a closed session?
If it's just procedural, why did the Senate now decide that, let's halt the entire?
Have you read what the Senate wrote out, which I signed?
Yes, I have read it.
We did not refer to the procedure. We said the procedure, the process should be stopped until we get full briefing, because we have not been briefed because of the disagreement of the Minister of State with the committee on issue of procedure. There could not have been any discussion on the modality. What the Senate wants is, what are the modalities, what are the procedure that you want to use to do the recruitment. Do you get one point? So the Senate is not going to issue of its altercation with the committee. It's not in our report. Our report is just that we are inviting the Minister of State, Minister of Labor, not Minister of State, to come and give us a report on modality, and that is part of our oversight function. So I wouldn't want to go.
So let me ask you this.
Please, I don't want
to talk about him. Yeah, let's talk about
him. Let him.
Let's talk about the 774,000 jobs, because you can say you don't want to reduce that to it, but let's also look at his allegation that it is because the lawmakers wanted to divert these jobs to themselves, and he was saying that already Nigerian lawmakers. I just want to quickly go through this, then you can respond to this, whether it is true or not, because he said that Nigerian lawmakers get 15% already of these jobs that are being put out. They already get 15% of it, and so they cannot direct how it should be done. And so let's confirm that. Do you get 15% slots?
I'm a senator. I don't have any slot now. I don't know whether he gave it to senator from his constituency, but as I'm speaking now, I don't even have a slot. We have not discussed the job at the floor of the Senate. We have not raised it at executive session of the Senate. So if he had discussed with some senators and he has given senators, let him come public and give us an evidence. But I know and I speak on my authority that I've not collected, I've not been offered, I don't have a knowledge. But I believe too, I must say this, that yes, it is right for even senators to have allocations because we are representing people, and part of the political sociology of our country is that our constituents expect us to have a direct impact in tackling the issue of employment. But as I'm speaking now, I don't know who he had discussed with and who he has given any slot or who has given any of our slots.
If you say that, yes, it is right for you to have slots. So would you say that have a percentage of the slot or have all of it? Because how
can you say in a democratic process that anybody even wants a job of 774,000? It's easy. I don't want to go into everybody. It's an institutional thing. It's better you talk constitution, and that's why I said if he has evidence of giving allocation, let him come with the list that have been submitted to him and say these are the list. 15% of 774,000 is huge.
That's 116,000.
116,000. So you let him bring out the list of the 116,000 names and put the senators to which it has been ascribed. As I'm a senator from Osun Central, I've not gotten any.
You're not getting any slots.
So I don't want to reduce myself into responding to banal allegation. What we are just concerned about is this: whether he is giving slots or is not giving slots. This project has the imprimatur of the Senate.
Okay.
Both in terms of conception, in terms of adoption, and in terms of appropriation of fund for it. So we are not alien, and we believe it will assist in stimulating the economy and address some of the challenges we have with COVID-19. So we are not opposed to the program.
To the program.
But part of our responsibility as a Senate and the House of Rep is to look at oversight of anybody spending Nigerian money. So
Absolutely.
what to know, what is the procedure, what is the modality, the 2020 people you pick by state. I'm not aware how the ones in my state have been picked. I'm a representative of the people. I should be able to go back to Osogbo and explain to my people this is the procedure. So what we are asking from them is the modality for implementation, which I don't think is beyond our own.
It's beyond your scope.
So I don't want us to reduce to issue of allegations that are not
substantiated. It's not substantiated, but this is not the first time lawmakers have been accused of this. I know that I said last year you had the Senate Committee on Federal Character carrying out an investigation on a similar allegation about the FIRS and the NDLEA, so that's on the table. And then there was even another report just a few days ago about jobs from the Empower program that the Senate President had to come out to say that, well, he does not have slots. So you can understand the trepidation of Nigerians when they, excuse me, let me just finish the question. I said you can understand the trepidation of Nigerians when the sort of issue comes up about lawmakers getting slots and things like that, because it is not a first time occurrence. You have, the federal character, they carried out an investigation on this about the FIRS and the NDLEA, and they had another one with the issue of the Empower as well. So that is why it is crucial to address the allegation of lawmakers cornering the jobs that should get to people.
I'm saying, let me tell you something. I'm not defending here that we're not entitled to have slot. What I'm saying is that it's not true that those slots have been given. I won't come and tell you that as a senator I'm not entitled to slots. Is it for my family member? They are for my constituents who elected me into office. I'm not just another individual. I represent a constituency of about 1.2 million registered voters, and I was elected by them. There are expectations. Can go to my constituency office. Requests are being made on a daily basis. But what I'm saying is that the journalists was able to shift between the truth and the lie. On the FRS, I'm a senator. Nobody has given me slots. So let them go and investigate who has been given. So if it's supposed that if Senate have been given slots, at least I should be entitled to one. I, Dr. Ajibola Bashiru, have not been given FRS. What? And Federal Character Commission, there is a provision in our Constitution, Section 14.3, that says in employment, there must be spread in terms of geography and ethnic group in Nigeria. So if the Senate is investigating, how has that translated to job slot for the Senate?
No, I'm just saying that when Nigerians are asking these questions, it's not like you can't dismiss the allegation. You have to explain to them because it's not a first time occurrence.
Any people can raise any allegations. Somebody can just say that I've just looted CBN. But the question is it true? So the question is that the FRS, let them, even if it is 5 people, let them come out and say these 5 people were the slot given. I'm not saying that giving slot is not, get my point too, but some of those allegations have no basis. If Federal Character Commission are given job, let us know what has given. Then the issue of Empower. Premium Times called me, I must mention them, on this issue. The response I gave to them, they have not written it in their paper. Because I asked them, you said certain funds were being printed. Have you gone to meet the office of the Senate President in Yobe to ask whether even those forms emanated from them? Anybody can put any form and say Faith has issued a form out. That's what they call investigative journalism. Then you know the office of the Honorable Minister. Have you gone there to ask what has this emanating from? And that in any event, if your contention is about slot being used in the National Assembly, I don't see anything wrong about it.
Well, let's talk about the slots for a minute. I understand that, it does look like there's nothing wrong with it because you have constituency to respond to. But the members of this constituency, your constituents, they are also part of local government areas. They are part of a state, right? I mean, Osun Central. So what happens with this kind of jobs if they're going to be looked at from the 774 local governments? So why would you require a slot?
I must be able to know those you are even given. Are they from my constituency? I'm just asking you, for instance, if somebody mischievous at the national level said he's giving 1,000 jobs to each of the local governments, if we don't understand the workings and the scrutiny and being able to trace those are concerned that are there, don't you think it's a possibility that somebody would take 3,000 from another place and say that is the slot?
It is definitely possible.
So that is the basis of our own. But if we are involved in the process, we'll be able to say with assurance that we have not been changed. That is the issue. And this 1,000 or 500 you are talking about, they are not my family members. And they are not people, there has never been a time that we advocate that people who are not qualified should be given employment. But we want to be sure that what is due to our state, what is due to our constituency is actually given to us. There were issues about the social register, about imbalance and everything. This was addressed by the Senate
with the Minister for
and the thing was resolved so that community leaders known to us, known to the state governors, now get involved in picking those that are on the social register. That is the issue. So all this insinuation about as if anything untoward or corrupt is done is not correct.
Okay. So let's move on from that and talk about the fact that the job is for 20,000 naira a month. Would according to the federal government, the executive will engage these people for 3 months. It's for unskilled workers, yes, but it's not even enough for the many Nigerians that are unemployed, number one, and 20,000 is also a paltry sum.
I wouldn't say 20,000 is a paltry sum for unskilled workers, because you have to contextualize it within the context of our economy. What does an average unskilled worker earn on a monthly basis? Net. When you are doing business, it's easier to say you have had a sale of 100,000, 150,000, but that sale is not your profit. Net income for you to be able to if you invest 1 million naira, your net income on investment of 1 million naira, going by the interest rate, is about 16,000 naira. So if somebody is paid 20,000 naira in a month, you cannot say is that paltry.
I mean, considering inflation, I mean, it is.
I'm just giving you but I would say that the essence of the program is not to totally address issue of unemployment. The problem of unemployment is so humongous, so big in Nigeria that this cannot address it. And I said at another forum, yesterday, that what we need is that we need to creatively look into how do we get our people back to productivity. For now, the large section of our society, probably more than 45-50%, are not productive. And what do I mean by productive? It's not about carrying paper and say you are going to an office in a day, you watch African Magic from morning till night, but how do you contribute to the GDP of the country by reproduction? So we need to address issue of power, very crucial. You cannot develop an economy without power being addressed. We need to look at our school curriculum. Are we training people to be productive in our society, or are we training parasites that will only be looking towards allocation? Thirdly, too, how are we critically engaging the youth in engaging in productive activities? We have so many trades and artisanship that we are not even having a personnel to do. We have to go to neighboring African countries, tiling, POP, and so on and so forth. So tackling the issue of unemployment goes beyond tokenism of this we are doing, but because of the COVID-19, it is felt that will provide some succor. Then it will also enhance earning power. Because when you look at, yes, as more as a 20,000 to a person is, when you multiply 20,000 by 774,000 going into the economy within a month and a period of 3 months is something that is also a bit with tackle. But I cannot say that this would in the long run address and tackle issue of unemployment. It's a more systemic approach, systemic activity, and programmatic view of setting up industries, energizing the productive sector will address the question of